Incredibly accomplished player, top 16 at regionals multiple times, a regional finalist as well, looking to add a victory to this list of achievements, and also rocking out with that Suicune V, sort of a deck that we've talked about this a little bit, how it used to be really popular, has kind of fallen off. You know, people will play it every once in a while as kind of a fun little memory to the Evolving Skies format, but Finn is showing, hey, with a little bit of innovation, it's still super solid.
Super solid deck, piloted by a super solid player. It's a dangerous combination, so Nicholas has to watch out as we move into this top 4 match.
Nothing too crazy in the prizes. The Melanie being prized for Daniel could be a bit of an issue. Does have a couple of copies of the card, has 4 copies of the card, excuse me. So just needing to find those cards at the right time can be key. And when one of those important 4-ofs is prized, your odds decrease of drawing into them every turn.
And with this Suicune deck, we kind of saw it a little bit earlier. If you hit an awkward turn, you really give up that tempo, it gives your opponent so much time to get set up in response and prepare for that Suicune attack.
Top 4 is underway. We are kicking things off. Daniel is gonna start it off. And Daniel has started a Suicune, uses that fleet-footed right away, and can bench a couple of Pokemon.
Sobble, Lotad, the classics here. These are the building blocks of the massive combos that we're going to be seeing later on in the game, opening up also with the level ball.
Pretty solid option. Can get any Pokemon out of the deck with 90 HP or less. This card is so good in these decks that utilize this Intellion engine. It can find you the Sobbles in the early game. It can find you Drizzles on turn 2 and onwards. And it can also get these little Lotads in play to help you set up for some crazy enthusiastic dance plays with Ludicolo later on.
That's what we're hoping to see. And we can see sort of the way this list plays towards the future, right? It's just this staggered chain of thinning the deck, constantly drawing through the deck, and eventually your natural top decks, perhaps with the help of fleet-footed even, can give you those pieces, and you don't need to go digging for them. And having this two-pronged attack of being able to pivot into a strong setup, seemingly from nothing, is the signature of the Suicune Ludicolo list.
So Sobble's grabbed here, and I definitely expect Daniel to try to get as many of these guys in play as quickly as possible. Shady Dealings is the lifeblood of this deck. It is how you draw through your deck. It's how you find specific trainer cards, and that's what this deck is about, is piecing together a bunch of different combos in order to pull off what you want to achieve every single turn.
And with 2 Sobble on the bench now, that is going to be a very strong setup to get things kicked off. Might see a manual attachment here, but nope, just the pass.
Had another level ball in hand, but chose to hold off on playing it, and I really like that decision because now that is an out to a Drizzile on the next turn. Super heads up.
We've seen the Suicune, you know, you discard that water energy to set up for the Melanie, so very well played by Daniel, not just going for that. And now Nicholas, ball is in their court.
Has a few options. I see a level ball over in their hand as well, but looks like another card is being considered to start things off. This list is always really interesting. Utilizes the Intellion draw engine, but also has squeezed the Arceus line in there as well. So you want to try to use that Trinity Nova to accelerate some energies, you know, get a bunch of damage in play, and also Starbirth to help you consistently set your field up. So I wonder if Quick Ball will yield an Arceus V to start things off.
The strategy for Nicholas is going to be a little bit disrupted, right? We know that this deck is kind of built to be a jack of all trades with a sort of a tilt to answer Mew and some of the counters thereof, but against this sort of wild card deck that's reappearing in the metagame, you're like, okay, is Finnegan going to be benching multiple Suicune Vs for me to knock out to get my proper prize mapping, or am I going to have to just go chase down a ton of Drizziles here?
Yeah, and we've seen Daniel try to hold off on putting too many Suicunes in play most of the time. I've actually heard Daniel say that Suicune is one of the cards that he does not want to start because it's easy 2 prizes potentially, and you can just set it up out of nowhere thanks to Melanie and Raihan.
So having this in play does give Nicholas an out to get those easy 2 prizes right off the bat.
But you got to attack with it at some point.
Exactly.
By starting with it, now I'm sure Daniel's going to be setting up for a Melanie play to try to attack with it on the next turn.
Arceus V being finally found onto the bench now. This is the strong setup that we're looking for from Nicholas. Getting this prepared to evolve next round into that V-Star and use that powerful Starbirth ability.
Something you always have to keep in mind when you're playing against a deck like Suicune is that its Blizzard Rondo attack deals more damage for the total number of benched Pokemon in play. Not just your opponent's benched Pokemon, but yours as well. So when you're playing against this deck, you need to be mindful of how many basic Pokemon you put down, because you're just boosting your opponent's damage output.
And when you're limiting your bench to shut down your opponent's ideas, it really strangles your own concepts and setups as well. So you have to strike that perfect balance between limiting your bench, but still being able to take advantage of your synergies, especially in this deck that's trying to also use the Intellion engine.
I think Nicholas is doing a little bit of math, saw the hands moving around on the table, counting by those 20s, trying to figure out how many basic Pokemon are safe to put in play so that this Arceus V doesn't just get targeted down right away. It would be pretty crazy if Daniel could pull that off, get off a cross-switcher play with the Melanie and all, but we've seen him do it. And so, yeah, I like this decision. Nicholas is just going to get to, not going to grab that third Sobble, put one less basic Pokemon down.
And now it's back over to the other side. We'll see if another explosive combo can come through, finding the cross switchers. You mentioned a Melanie. I love the synergy. Again, the cross switcher just being a trainer card, not a supporter, allowing you to get that powerful effect and still use the Melanie for your combo. Fleet-footed to start things off, and now just evaluating the situation once again before we start off the combo train.
And here's the first combo. Drizzle's Shady Dealings can search the deck for any single card, put it directly into the hand. And we know there's at least a water energy in hand, so if you have a Melanie, you can quick ball away said water energy and then get that extra acceleration. Just a way to cheat a little extra energy in play, and quick ball is the grab right away from Daniel.
Perfect, and then we can draw 3 cards from a potential Melanie. We're still trying to look for cross switcher to maybe put the full combo down here and get such a massive advantage here. Yeah, right at the start of game 1 here.
With the cross switcher, you do have to find a scoop up net as well, because cross switcher forces you to switch as well as your opponent. But I guess not if you're grabbing a Suicune, because that is the Pokemon you can switch into. So we could see Daniel just Melanie to that benched Pokemon and go for the cross switcher. Is this what Daniel's going for? Just going for that chasing down the Arceus right away?
You'd be getting 2 prizes right off the bat. You're denying that very powerful Starbirth ability by denying that evolution, and you just be sitting with this massive attacker ready to set up, ready to bully anything that Nicholas is forced to promote into the active. So there's so much riding on the next few draws for Daniel Lynch here.
Yeah, and I think it's going to come down to what pieces are found off of this Melanie. I expect Daniel to grab the Drizzile, or just grab the, wait, did you just play the level ball?
Level ball into Drizzile, into Melanie, looks like.
I thought it was playing the, yeah, I thought that first, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. He's going to get the Drizzile and then get the Melanie, there we go. Can't, I think just thinking a little too far ahead there, but we see what the intent was.
So many like kind of pseudo shortcuts that players do take to save time while they're shuffling their deck and searching, but we do have to keep focus on playing clean, making sure the board state is proper.
Definitely. So Melanie was the grab. I guess Finn did not have that Melanie quite yet. And it's going to be onto these cards that are drawn. No more Shady Dealings to use, but if you can find a crazy combo like the other cross switcher, like the rare candy, and I think Finn says that's just so unlikely, I'm just going to go for the attach to the active and kind of go from there.
And even if you don't get everything you absolutely wanted out of this turn, Nicholas isn't threatening anything too ridiculous on the other side just yet. So this is probably the only moment in the game where you're comfortable taking, you know, a half combo, just a slower tempo turn.
Well, it's still taking a prize this turn is pretty solid. You put yourself in a spot where, you know, you can map it out to, you know, KO 2 1-prizers and 2 2-prizers to try to finish the game. So still not too bad. But taking this odd prize does put you in a situation where you're going to be having to deal with a Dire Flame Wings a little bit earlier than maybe you would have otherwise, since after you've taken 2 prizes, now Dire Flame Wings from that Moltres on Nicholas's side, instead of hitting for, you know, if you've just taken a 2-prize KO, instead of hitting for just 120, now since you will have taken a 1-prize into a 2-prize KO on that turn, would be hitting for 170.
So a lot of implication with every attack here. We can see where Nicholas is under pressure, not wanting to develop the bench. Daniel is under
needs to get Raihan into a double turbo energy and a choice belt and an Arceus V-Star. So Raihan gets the energy out of the deck, or out of the discard pile, and then you can go get your Arceus V-Star, and the Arceus V-Star can get you the other two pieces of that combo. It does appear that Nicholas is going to be able to take 2 prizes.
Beautiful. With Daniel missing out on the opportunity to gust up that Arceus V and try to deny this line, the combo is now swinging back in with Nicholas being able to put this all together thanks to Raihan, a card that you have praised over and over again, Chip.
Yes, super good card. Love getting to play these like come from behind cards, you know, things that you can only use on specific turns because usually their effects are very powerful. And now Starbirth gets to search 2 more cards out of the deck. So effectively, Nicholas has just gotten to hand pick 3 cards out of the deck this turn. That is sure to be able to make any combo happen.
That is something that is almost forbidden for card game players to be able to do. Just searching for 3 cards needed. This is, you know, big protagonist combos, the cards that you need just at the moment when you need them. And there is the KO as you predicted. Everything came together thanks to that powerful Starbirth V-Star power. And now Daniel has to try to jump back into things with this backup Suicune V on the bench.
Nicholas also got down the second Arceus V, so that way there was a solid target to accelerate to, so super solid draw there. And we'll be getting 2 prizes this turn, so even though Daniel took the first KO, Nicholas is going to take the advantage right back.
Just taking a few notes there. You love to see that from these players. Again, every little percentage, everything is tracked by these players.
Yeah, they're always checking for what's prized and trying to keep track of, okay, what are those 6 prize cards? What am I going to take off of these prizes? And it can allow you to make some pretty interesting plays if you know certain things are prized.
So here it is. Suicune V promoted to the active and fleet-footed drawing 1 more card.
That was the draw for turn, I believe.
Okay.
Hasn't even used that fleet-footed quite yet.
Going to evaluate the situation first.
Yeah,
Looks
wants
like a
to
capture
maybe
energy.
Yeah, and using this capture energy before using fleet-footed gets a basic Pokemon out of the deck. And
beautiful.
This is an important sequencing decision from Daniel because in the early game you would normally want to fleet-footed first because you need more basic Pokemon early on in the game. But now at this point with the bench pretty much already full, it makes so much more sense to capture energy down a basic Pokemon, and now fleet-footed has a higher % chance to draw you into another combo piece, something like a Melanie or a Water Energy, now that there's 1 less card in the deck that you could potentially draw.
The Pokemon TCG and percentage optimization, 2 principles that just go hand in hand, and now finally a draw from the fleet-footed.
Yeah,
and now, what are we looking for now, Chip? We need the Melanie, we need a Drizzile to maybe grab 1, scoop up net to reset some things.
Yeah, we definitely need a Rare Candy and a Ludicolo in order to try to reach for a KO here, and Shady Dealings Inteleon is a pretty solid way to make that happen. Getting you 2 trainer cards out of the deck, this makes it so likely and so easy to set up these Ludicolo plays.
Drawing the trainers now. We have 1 cross switcher. We saw it in the hand. Gets the choice belt and the Melanie.
Okay, these are damage modifiers. This is energy acceleration. Very important in order to reach for these specific numbers. I do think that a Ludicolo will be necessary at some point in this equation, but it is very likely Daniel could find a KO this turn.
Especially with the 3 cards being drawn off the Melanie, something naturally could just come off the top deck. Is the Ludicolo in hand? Do we have the Rare Candy? Are we still looking for 2 of those pieces?
I think that the Ludicolo is in hand, but I'm not sure if I've seen a Rare Candy yet, but 3 cards to draw here, and you also still have access to 1 more Shady Dealings potentially. Would love to see that Rare Candy.
After missing the opportunity to get that very important cross-switcher combo to take out that first Arceus V, this is the moment of truth. The Rare Candy Ludicolo does indeed come in with the choice belt, with the Blizzard Rondo's boosted damage, with that full bench.
Yeah, this is
the
dealing
enthusiastic dance.
Yeah, dealing 280 exactly right now. So the choice belt grab, I think Finn already had all the other pieces. So just getting the choice belt out of the deck, because that's something you may need next turn to try to reach for a KO. Because I believe right now, quick maths, dealing exactly 280 damage.
And then just going even deeper, Shady Dealings, Drizzile, going to get another card. And you can see the players, they have the setup for this turn to get the knockout, but now they're already preparing for later turns.
And Cape of Toughness is a huge grab from Daniel. That's going to give 50 more hit points to this Suicune V, keeping it out of range of the Trinity Nova of a potential incoming Arceus V-Star. That is a massive card to hit.
We've seen over and over again how these Arceus V-Star decks really struggle to hit those key HP totals to get the knockouts. And against a deck like this, the Suicune one that can jump out with these massive bursts of damage, you can't reliably set up these 2-turn KOs.
Scoop Up Net does pick up the Inteleon. This is great because you've reset a potential Drizzile for next turn and a potential Inteleon for the next turn. And Daniel does get 2 prizes from this.
Arceus V-Star goes down, 2 prizes now in the hand. Back over to Nicholas. How can you respond to this? We've got to get another Arceus V-Star at the very least, but that KO means that you're down a choice belt.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Nicholas wants to even attack with the Arceus here. Maybe you could try to work in an attack with the Galarian Moltres this turn, potentially. But the Arceus may be the only choice. You just kind of have to force Daniel to have the KO. Oh, Boss's Orders in hand, so something that Nicholas could theoretically do would be boss down the Lotad, which feels a little weird whenever there's a Suicune in the active. But by bossing Lotad, Nicholas could actually guarantee that Arceus would not be KO'd next turn, since Daniel would not have access to getting another Ludicolo in play to use Enthusiastic Dance.
Okay, so buying yourself another turn could be the answer here. We haven't seen any of the other attackers that this deck wants to pivot to.
And that is the exact play Nicholas goes for, recognizing that if this Lotad goes down, it is not possible for my Arceus V-Star to be KO'd. Now you've netted yourself 2 turns of being able to use this powerful Pokemon.
Preemptively shutting down that Ludicolo Fiesta.
Yes. No more dancing.
You didn't get a permit, no dancing, no party. Lotad gonna get KO'd here. Not before Nicholas finished out the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
But very, very heads up. You predicted it, Chip. You know exactly what's going on, my friend.
Level Ball can grab another Drizzile. Shady Dealings can get 1 more trainer card. We could also see another Sobble be set up, so that opens up the plays for a potential second Shady Dealings on the next turn, so you can just get multiple combo pieces together. And what Nicholas wants to try to achieve here is, using this Arceus and then setting up for the powerful 1-prize attackers. That Galarian Moltres, and maybe the Galarian Moltres V, but I don't expect to see that necessarily in this game, since that's another 2-prize KO that could be easy for Daniel to deal with. But even still, I think Daniel's just in such a good spot. Being at 3 prize cards, able to just knock out an Arceus V-Star and then some other 1-prize Pokemon potentially.
All right, so finds Evolution Incense off the Drizzile, gets the quick shooting Inteleon in play. This is that source of extra damage you are going to need to get these KOs.
Grabs the Clara, had the Clara in hand, so yeah. Now we see the quick shooting can drop that damage on the Suicune, set that up to be more in range. So this is a really solid turn from Nicholas, because now you're taking this prize, you're making sure your Arceus is going to stick around, but you're also ensuring that you're getting more damage on the Suicune, so that you're giving yourself the out to potentially KO it on the next turn.
Beautiful to see the way that these players are continuously adapting their strategies as the board state continues to evolve turn after turn. And now with Nicholas getting just another search through the deck thanks to that Trinity Nova, just going to put 2 energies down, trying to set up perhaps for that Galarian Moltres.
Yeah, that could be the play that is being set up here.
With a retreat on the Arceus V-Star, we'll send those 2 Darkness Energies to the discard pile.
And we did see that Clara in the hand.
It's all coming together. We've been praising the Suicune Ludicolo for being able to do such interesting combos, but this Arceus deck also has some tricks up its sleeve.
So what to send up is always important here, and it does appear that Drizzile will be the choice. So Daniel knows that there cannot be a knockout on this Arceus this turn. So potentially what Daniel will try to do is chase down one of these Pokemon on the bench. You've got 2 knockouts that you need to take to win this game, right? 3 prizes remaining. So if you take a 1-prize KO and a 2-prize KO eventually on an Arceus V-Star, that is how you can close it out. So what I would love to see from Daniel is cross-switcher plays, take out that Intellion on the bench, so that way that Nicholas cannot get extra damage in play to potentially knock out your Suicune, make it as difficult as possible for Nicholas to ever deal with this Suicune, and then benching 2 Lotads this turn, whether that's with Scoop Up Net, picking up Lotad.
Cross Switcher, the first piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
Going down.
Piece number 1, exactly what we thought, grabbing that Intellion, wants to take care of that, and now needs to get another Lotad on the bench and also Scoop Up Net this Ludicolo so that Nicholas can't do the same thing next turn and just chase down a Lotad potentially.
We have the Sobble in play that was reestablished in the last turn.
Yep.
So that can be evolved if we can get a Drizzile for it.
And we know that Intellion Shady Dealings is in the hand.
Beautiful. And we've seen Daniel Lynch before, when backed into a tight spot, can rare candy that Sobble for the Shady Dealings and telling on if it does come down to it. But with so many cards in hand, especially with the Capacious Bucket thinning the deck even further, there's got to be something here to tie this turn all together. The Cross Switcher, again, was just step 1.
Yes, part 1 to this puzzle. Needs to get that other Lotad. And yeah, waiting on the shuffle. Smart decision once again with the thinning before the fleet-footed. I expect that is what we will see pretty soon, grabbing 2 water energies out of the deck with Capacious Bucket, and 1 more card drawn here, just trying to get more pieces of whatever combo Daniel is trying to set up.
And it looks like, again, every single time a card is drawn, the players immediately start to calculate that into their turn. There's the Scoop Up Net.
Huge. Definitely a piece that Daniel needed this turn. Does play 3 copies of Lotad. 1 has been sent to the discard pile, so needs to find that second one. Ideally, there's a chance that Daniel can't get it, and if that's the case, you just kind of have to hope that Nicholas can't chase the Lotad once again.
I mean, with the Starbirth already offline, it'll be very difficult to have that important card, but the pieces are now set up again for the next turn.
Bring in an energy to the front of the discard pile. Could we see a Melanie to get the rare 3rd energy on Suicune? If the Daniel needs to just draw extra cards, that would make sense.
Shady Dealings and Intellion could make it happen. Searching through the deck, looking for these combo pieces, trying to take this really important KO to reset up this prize mapping. Once this Quick Shooting Intellion goes down, we just need to take down 1 more 2 prize Pokemon to take down game 1 at top 4. Again, the winner of this best of 3 will be going on to the grand finals.
Yes, and there's a lot on the line for these players. Top 4, an amazing accomplishment already, but these players want the glory. They want to get into the finals. They want to have their shot at becoming a Pokemon TCG regional champion.
As we've returned to in-person play, this is such a momentous occasion of its own, and I think that like a victory here would carry even more weight. Yeah,
can't grab the capture energy there off of Shady Dealings. That does not quite work. But Daniel will just get a useless card out of the deck, it appears. So whenever you're just thinning out cards with Shady Dealings, that's how you know your hand is just absolutely stacked. If you're not even having to get combo pieces, if you're just...
Oh, and the second Lotad, excellent. If one gets chased down, we still have the option to evolve the other.
Yes, huge draw, exactly what we thought he would need this turn. Gets the second Lotad ready to go. And I don't even know if Nicholas Moffit can reach for a KO on this Suicune. Only plays 1 Choice Belt in their list. Has already used that this game, so that's not going to be an option to do extra damage.
And then with the Quick Shooting being taken off of the table, that extra source of damage is also down. The Suicune, fortunately, does have 2 damage counters on it, but still not going to be enough thanks to the Cape of Toughness.
Yeah, Cape of Toughness boosting this Suicune all the way up to 260 hit points, and it is hard to hit for 240.
Heavens to Betsy, 260. When you go into this matchup, you have very specific numbers in mind, and the Cape of Toughness forcing you to work that much harder, forcing you to take that KO over an additional turn can be so detrimental against an explosive deck like this.
Nicholas trying to determine what is the correct Pokemon to send up here. Arceus V-Star is the choice draw for turn. Finds a Research. So that can see you plenty of cards, but we know that Clara is in hand, and that is an incredibly important piece in order to set up for Moltres plays. But you're almost at a point with your opponent having just 2 prize cards remaining. are you even going to have time to ever utilize a supporter as a recovery card?
I think at this point you might just need to go all in, right? You go for Clara, try to set up some Galarian Moltres.
Yeah, I mean, Clara could also grab back the Inteleon to boost the damage a little bit, but even still, that's not enough damage in play in order to knock out this Suicune. You cap at 200, you don't have Choice Belt, so you put 20 more on there, and that puts them up to 220, so you're just 20 damage short of this KO.
Yeah, furiously searching through both discard piles, needs to evaluate all the resources at play here. There's the retreat.
You know, Daniel has used all 4 copies of Cross Switcher, right? So, well, Nicholas is going to play the Escape Rope. I was thinking if Nicholas maybe just is making a call that, hey, Daniel doesn't have Boss's Orders in the list, just using those, relying on those Cross Switchers, could maybe go in and try to just get a little hit in with a Inteleon for a turn, something like that, but would have to have a double Turbo Energy to even do that, just to soften this Pokemon up and hope that Daniel doesn't have a way to get a switch.
A little bit of hesitation, but decides on the Lotad. Since we have the second one in reserve, we want to keep the Sobble ready to go to be the recipient of a, a Drizzile evolution. Keep your deck agile and flexible.
Seems like a good choice to me.
Calculating the Blizzard Rondo.
Yeah, and at this point, this is, Nicholas is just trying to play around Daniel's ability to set up a KO. Not going to put any Pokemon in play. Could use the Clara this turn, actually, to just drop some damage on the Suicune. I actually don't necessarily mind that because you're going to put it in range of being KO'd on the next turn.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Nicholas will do. Oh, it gets the Shady Dealings Inteleon, actually, so wants to search for a couple more cards. Okay.
So there's another combo on Nicholas's mind. Again, both of these decks running the Inteleon engine, a lot of flexibility, tons of utility. There's so many different options available to you at any given time. And here in game 1, things are coming down to the wire. The players are trying to prepare for what their opponent could possibly do, but when you're trying to calculate the massive branch of opportunities your deck is capable of, and also your opponent, it's a lot of mental strain here in the top 4.
Definitely. I mean, it's a tough game, and these guys are figuring out how to navigate these various situations. Shady Dealings can grab any 2 trainers from the deck. Daniel all Daniel's going to need next turn in order to reach for a KO on this Arceus is a basic Pokemon, a rare candy into a Ludicolo. And that is 280 exactly, I believe, right? With 6 benched Pokemon. That's one. Oh, no, would need the Choice Belt. Okay, so and we do think that Daniel has the Choice Belt in hand, right? We saw that grabbed with the Shady Dealings earlier. So what Daniel would actually have to do is set up a second Suicune on the bench, right? So he needs to set up the second Suicune, get a Choice Belt on it, and then also find rare candy into Ludicolo.
So every time we go down this long laundry list of needed cards, it seems like such a tall order, but Daniel always pulls it off.
Nicholas could actually scoop up net and just get this benched Pokemon out of play, and that means that Daniel would actually have to find the Echoing Horn in order to even bring a basic Pokemon back. And that would be keeping Daniel out of range of getting the KO unless Echoing Horn was played as well.
Scoop up net.
Is their Sobble going to be benched again, or is this what Nicholas is trying to set up? As few benched Pokemon, no benched Pokemon in play, in fact.
Living on the edge. You're just gambling everything on whether or not your opponent has the cards, the tools that they need to actually get the knockout on this Arceus V-Star. Again, the Suicune has the massive potential for these big swings, but this card is just big enough.
Okay, so Nicholas has set this up super, super well. Is going to grab the Moltres out of the deck and not bench it, I expect. Just hold it in the hand for the turn. Maybe at this point making a call that, okay, Daniel doesn't have a Marnie in hand, so my hand isn't in danger of getting disrupted. I'm just going to have this Moltres ready to go.
Yeah,
and
it has the 2 Darkness Energies from the Clara for the Malevolent Charge.
And now if Daniel misses the KO, that is what you have to go in and attack with.
Beautiful. So again, just the cat and mouse, the play and counterplay, trying to shrink the potential damage of the Blizzard Rondo.
Nicholas is debating this bench. I mean, it makes your opponent have to find the Echoing Horn in order to pull off a knockout potentially, but you also need to value potentially being able to use Shady Dealings. So does choose to just go ahead and bench the Sobble and will take the knockout now on Lotad.
Yeah, I think was just evaluating, probably sensed the line where you need to have second Suicune with the choice belt in order to properly hit these numbers. Even if I do have one on the bench, we know that benching the Sobble means that that scooped up Drizzile can then be employed in the next round.
Oh, no. So Daniel does still need the Echoing Horn. Okay, so you're just short. Does need to have 7. 7 is the magic number. 7 total benched basic Pokemon. Leads to, or no, has the choice belt, right? So all these little math things.
I know, it's so
many different paths
particular.
here for Daniel. Let's see what he has to set up. I think that regardless, a different Suicune has to be set up. You have to Melanie to a Suicune, have to get a choice belt on it, and boost the damage that way. And you also have to find Ludicolo. Daniel very possibly could win this turn. Let's see if the pieces can come together.
Every time we say that, it seems to be the signal for Daniel to pop off here.
Look at how huge that hand is. Daniel just has every option in the deck available, it seems.
All right.
Ooh, Melanie's to the active. Okay.
Melanie's to the active, draws 3 cards. Even bigger hand to work with. We've got the Lotad ready to go, needs to find. Doing some calculations here, and you can see how we're trying to suss out the math. The players have to do this in real time. They aren't trying to use up too much time so that things don't go to time at the end of the round in game 3.
Yeah, I think that Daniel had to attack. I think
Echoing Horn is found.
So now we're going to be at 7 benched Pokemon. So with the base 20, yeah, there's the Enthusiastic Dance. Is there another basic Pokemon to put down? That'll be enough, I think.
Evolution Incense gets a Drizzile.
Oh, still has the cross switchers available. Was not down those cross switchers.
Shady Dealings Intellion, okay.
Grabs the 2 cross switchers. Cross switchers can bring up the Arceus V on the bench, and the energy on the Intellion can allow Daniel to retreat, and that is the KO. There were so many possible ways Daniel could have gone for the KO that turn. That was the one that made the most sense. You know, I must have been getting confused with the game we watched earlier or something like that.
Yeah,
I really thought that all those
much
cross switchers were down, but Daniel had 2 more available, and there you go. That was the key to victory.
Beautiful. The Shady Dealings Intellion, because you can search for 2 trainers, you can find both halves of that cross switcher combo and just employ it at your leisure. Very well played from both players. I love that Nicholas was able to consistently force Daniel to have it. And even though the deck did, it's still important to still force those percentages in your favor. If, you know, this Suicune Ludicolo does happen to come up dry on 1 or 2 rounds, you can see the implications of every single attempt and every dig into the deck. If you come up empty, then Nicholas can suddenly get an insurmountable advantage with a key KO on a Lotad or a Suicune.
So we're getting a notice that Nicholas has received a warning in Game 1 for a pace of play. No penalties just yet, but a warning has been issued by our stream judges. So that's something Nicholas is going to have to keep in mind moving into Game 2, excuse me, down a game here, trying to force a game number 3. What I find interesting about Nicholas's deck here is that they are playing a counter meta deck, right? The idea of this deck is to play darkness types to counter the Mew VMAXs that were expected to be popular for this event, which it definitely was the most popular deck in the room for the tournament. And also the fighting type of Galarian Zapdos V to counter the Arceus and the Gengars running around. Over on Daniel's side, Daniel's not playing any of those Pokemon. No Pokemon weak to Dark, no Pokemon weak to Fighting, so it makes navigating the matchup quite a bit more difficult.
And so a double mulligan coming through.
Yeah, each player did not find a basic Pokemon in that opening hand. Gonna have to shuffle in and try to find a new one in this hand of 7.
I mean, and so then both players get that extra draw at the start?
No, yeah, it cancels out, so neither player gets an extra draw. When both players do not have a basic Pokemon, neither player gets an additional card.
So canceling it out. I guess if you're going to take a mulligan, that's the perfect time.
Right, whenever your opponent also has one.
Beautiful. So there's the cut. Going to set up and try again. And it's not just important to find the proper starting card, right, that proper basic Pokemon, but you're now worried as we head into Game 2 that some key combo piece might be prized.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the prizes come up big time in our other top 4 match. Hopefully not going to play too much of a factor in this one. Quick shooting Intellion.
Lara.
We see a Melanie from Daniel, a rare candy, but these are not the worst prizes.
It's workable.
It's definitely okay. And we are kicking off game number 2. Nicholas Moffit, no doubt, will be choosing to go first. and has started the Galarian Zapdos V. We talked about how this is an anti-meta card, you know, useful to KO opposing Arceus, opposing Gengar VMAX. Not super good against Suicune V. You only deal 170 damage, not nearly enough to pick up a one-hit knockout, and it's an easy KO for Suicune with just a total of 9 benched Pokemon in play. You can deal enough to knock out Galarian Zapdos, or with just 4 benched Pokemon and the Ludicolo. So it's very easy for Daniel to deal with.
Yeah, so this is really going to be a big liability, especially as we get to the later turns. The Galarian Zapdos V is going to be a constant, you know, thing that Nicholas needs to worry about. Is this going to get cross-switchered up into the active and just taken out? But again, just setting up the quick ball, taking a deep look into the deck, evaluating what is prized, and formulating the strategy at this level of play. Again, the players know their decks front to back. They can immediately identify which pieces are missing. And now Nicholas does indeed get the Arceus V from that quick ball, and hopefully a manual attachment, trying to find the pieces and bring it all together. Another quick ball gets rid of that Drizzile to put the Sobble in play.
Losing a Drizzile always feels a little bad, but if you don't have any prized, it's unlikely you're going to use all 4 of your Shady Dealings Drizziles in a single game, especially when you consider using Scoop Up Net so often.
Again, just taking another look through the deck, making sure everything is where it needs to be before we shuffle and move on to the next round. But the next turn,
yes,
Galarian Zapdos still just hanging out in the active, however. A sitting duck, unfortunately.
A sitting bird up there. Can't even take flight down to the bench. It's just stuck up there. And now
it is a, it's only 1 retreat cost, yeah?
Yes, it's one of the fastest Pokemon out there. So good. Retreat cost, it can move around pretty quickly, but it's a little hard to figure out exactly what they, how you want to move it to the bench.
All right, so things are over to Daniel. Gets the Capacious Bucket. We've got 2 water energy being searched out of the deck and being added to the hand, just thinning even further. And then we'll see Fleet-Footed, I imagine.
Yeah, Fleet-Footed can draw an extra card. Using the Capacious Bucket first, getting the couple water energies out. Not really wanting to draw water energies, wants to increase the chance to find basic Pokemon, most likely. Maybe find a supporter card, even a quick ball. You know, if there's a Melanie sitting in that hand, we could see an attack here on the first turn of the game.
Could be Magnificent Melanie is in the hand. We just need the rest of it to come together. And I think that's just been the name of the game for the Suicune deck, is everything seems to come together. You're almost playing your entire deck all at once. And when you have all of these pieces available to you at any given time, you can't get stuck, right, on evaluating incorrect lines. You have to very quickly sort of identify what is the best strategy going forward.
Daniel was debating playing the second Capacious Bucket, but chose to hold off. I think thinning 2 more water energy out of the deck feels like, you know, it makes sense if you want to just worry about specifically drawing cards before Fleet-Footed, but it means that you have 1 less Capacious Bucket if you potentially get Marnied at some point later in this game. So I think a wise decision to hold off, keep that bucket around, because if your opponent does play a Marnie at some point, that's a card you now will have access to find off of Shady Dealings in order to get your energy drop.
Some players, you know, might just run away with the game if they just keep thinning, and not evaluating what their opponent could maybe punish you for doing so.
Yeah, playing around the potential Marnie is definitely wise there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you want to thin, but you don't want to over-thin necessarily.
Everything
if something
in
is
moderation.
Still good. Right.
So passing the deck back over to get shuffled and continue the rest of the turn.
Melanie can get that energy attachment to the active, but no turn 1 knockout likely from Daniel here. We could technically see it with like some cross-switcher plays on the Sobble, but I don't know that it's worth expending that resource super early, and it's also super unlikely to find both of them and a Scoop Up Net or something like that to move the Sobble.
There's the second energy attached. Blizzard Rondo is online, but not a lot of bench Pokemon just yet. Second Suicune now hitting the bench.
Has a quick ball in hand, so we could see another Sobble hit the field. I think that was a quick ball. Yeah. Is going to play the other bucket here, and we'll probably see an energy discarded off of the quick ball if I had to guess. Just wants to get more Sobbles in play. Is not, I wonder if you can risk just having 1 Lotad down, or if you just want to, at this point, get a Sobble.
This is a really big decision, right? Because now Nicholas, with the Arceus V already set up in play, could evolve into that V-Star. If you get the Lotad down, you're trying to go for the enthusiastic dance, but what if you need more tools out of your deck with the Shady Dealings? And again, presented with another fork in the road. Are we looking for more utility, more cards searched from the list, or are we looking to set up something that's a bit more aggressive?
I think what Daniel is trying to debate here is, is it worth it valuing the setup, or am I potentially going to want to reach for a one-hit KO on an Arceus V-Star next turn? And it's entirely possible that you may need to reach for a one-hit KO on an Arceus V-Star. So you want to get Lotad in play so you at least leave yourself that option. Now, an interesting thing I did notice as well is that Daniel actually already has 2 Cross-Switcher in hand. So what could happen is if Nicholas chose to chase down the Lotad with an Arceus, leave yourself the option to...
Oh, and the Marnie.
Yeah, so no more chasing of that Lotad from boss's orders or anything like that. But if that was a play that Nicholas had gone for by chasing Lotad, Daniel had the Cross-Switchers to at least still take a couple prize knockout that turn on the Galarian Zapdos.
Fortunately, even though the Marnie came through, Daniel was able to make use of that second Capacious Bucket by fueling that Quick Ball.
So now there's a water energy in the discard pile for the Melanie. Nicholas uses that Star Birth. Now we'll be able to set up whatever 2 cards from deck that Nicholas wants, whatever combo they need. We certainly want to see an energy drop so that you can use that powerful Trinity Nova and probably an Arceus to put those energies on.
Still very unsure about the way the rest of this game is going to play out because it is so important for Nicholas, again, to take this game too. Has already been warned about pace of play.
Right.
So is now worrying about, am I taking too long to think? I don't want the judges to come down on me. We want to keep the pace up. So Sobble now, and again, it's the extra layers of the Blizzard Rondo calculation that might be playing into these longer turns on Nicholas's side.
Yeah, you never would have thought that counting by 20 would be that hard, but it can be a little hard to keep track of all of these things.
Top 4, Salt Lake City Regionals, your back is to the wall. If you drop this game, you are out. So much pressure, you'd be surprised.
Energy Search can get the energy out of the deck now, so we will see a Trinity Nova this turn. I wonder if Nicholas will want to put another Arceus in play, will maybe just be fine powering up the Zapdos, I guess. And the Choice Belt is a huge grab as well, because now the Suicune will go down.
Beautiful.
One-hit KO'd, dealing 210 damage exactly with Trinity Nova.
And now we've got the accelerated energy from that going on to potentially this Galarian Zapdos V. Gives you a chance to have an additional attacker, something that just come back up into the active and deal a little bit of damage if you need to.
Yeah, I feel like if you're attacking with Galarian Zapdos V, you're going to want to be doing it into one of those one-prizers, if you're targeting down your opponent's draw through one of those Drizziles or a Sobble or something like that, or if you want to take away the Lotads from the field. So that way, you're not just 2-hit KOing a Suicune with the Galarian Zapdos. That definitely would feel bad.
So Nicholas getting the first 2 prizes, setting up a very strong position here as well with the Arceus V-Star now in the active with that Choice Belt. Boosted damage, so important for hitting those proper numbers. Capacious Bucket now is the response from Daniel.
I don't think Daniel had a very good hand at all right there. It looked very clogged up, a lot of energy cards, it has an Evolution Instance. Okay, so Evolution Instance can go get a Drizzile at least to get something rolling. So
yeah, we got to get the Drizzile down. We have to try to find more Pokemon to bench, right? We got to boost up this Blizzard Rondo, but we need more Sobbles so we can keep chaining this Shady Dealings.
We'll probably see the Fleet-Footed here. Before Daniel commits to the Drizzile, you want to see what you draw first, because if you draw a Drizzile, now that Evolution Instance can become the Ludicolo.
And there is the Fleet-Footed draw.
It was the Echoing Horn. Not super good right now, but that is a card that could be really good in this specific game since that Zapdos has such low hit points.
Yeah, if we're able to get the knockout on that, Echoing Horn, bring it back, get a lower HP target to get the final 2 prizes, but that's for later on, Chip. We still have to take the first 4.
Hey, you always got to be thinking ahead when you're playing a highly competitive game of the Pokemon TCG like this.
Especially this deck. Again, Shady Dealings, the name of the game for both players is thinking ahead.
Daniel's able to grab Melanie with that Shady Dealings, so that energy can be dropped to the active Suicune. We know that there's extra energies in hand from the Capacious Bucket, and now 3 additional cards will be drawn. Let's see what plays are possible after this draw.
1, 2, 3.
I think there is an Evolution Incense. Not sure if there's a rare candy. Not quite enough benched Pokemon to be worrying about reaching for a one-hit knockout. Needs a total of 8 benched Pokemon, so yeah, not going to really be happening here with only 2 on Nicholas's side.
Finds the Sobble at the very least.
Yep, that's solid.
And we need the attach to the active. You can save that for as long as you need to. Capture energy. Excellent. This allows you to search through the deck, get a basic Pokemon, put it on the bench.
Yeah, can grab out another Sobble, maybe a Lotad if you're worried about the one you have getting bossed and KO'd. But I think at this point, Daniel wants to just value the setup a little bit more. This is definitely one of the weaker setups we've seen from Daniel as far as the stream games go that we've had him on for so far, but is still looking pretty solid. Not going to be able to get a one-hit KO this turn, but can get a solid hit off.
And now with the deck just being shuffled, this gives you a few seconds, right, to evaluate what your next move is going to be. And the players are maximizing every opportunity they can to think and calculate. Again, both players under a lot of pressure. How much do I bench? How many pieces do I need to get this KO? Trying to hit these very exact numbers. A lot of decks that we've seen throughout this weekend have just been kind of overkilling their opponent with trying to get these KOs. So much damage is going through, but now you're climbing a mountain of a lot of HP where it forces you to have more combo pieces to get that to work. But yeah, the KO is not going to come through here. Choice Bell is found, which is nice.
170 damage being dealt to the Arceus. And what Daniel could be setting up here is an attack with the Aqua Bullet of Inteleon through using something like Raihan, get that extra energy, attach for turn, and then you can use Aqua Bullet and take a knockout with a one prizer in the active spot, a 160 hit point one prizer as well.
So responding back, has a quick ball, finds the other Arceus. The thing about this deck is when your opponent doesn't employ a list that plays into the weaknesses of the legendary birds you have in your list, right? That Moltres, that Zapdos, and you're kind of just pivoting back to the Arceus V-Star, it does become a lot more awkward. Nicholas is very dialed into this line, however, and is willing to accept that. But it just makes things that much more difficult. Even filling up the bench here with the Sobbles, looking for a knockout on this Suicune and maybe getting this big threat out of the way.
And a Marnie to combo with this pretty solid turn so far from Nicholas. The knockout is already in play. Nicholas can go to just 2 prizes remaining. So now what Nicholas needs to do is try to set up to be able to close out the game by knocking out a Suicune on the next turn. But I think Daniel is probably just going to have only an Inteleon in play if the setup is able to happen.
And after the Marnie resolves, the hand from Daniel is going to be, again, very, very nebulous.
Yes, much smaller. Is going to be relying on whatever these 4 cards are. Evolution Incense is probably the key piece. If you just have that, you can get Shady Dealings and Inteleon, and then you can do almost anything, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Whenever we think that this Shady Dealings deck is backed into a corner, it does make those miracles happen. So we can't count Daniel out just yet.
Nicholas is going to hold off on accelerating energy from deck, wants to conserve that in the deck for a Galarian Moltres potentially later on. Now, what was the draw from Daniel? What do they have access to? I do believe I see a level ball, so at minimum we can see a Drizzile.
And Daniel really wants to take this game too, just close it out in a clean sweep.
Inteleon is a great draw off of the Marnie. Shady Dealings, 2 trainer cards. I totally expect one of these to be Raihan.
Raihan allows you again to attach an energy from your discard pile to a Pokemon, and once you do, search your deck for a specific card and add it to your hand. Finding that specific combo piece you need is exactly what this deck wants to do.
And sure enough, Raihan slapped down. Super powerful card, but the drawback, you can only play it when your opponent took a KO on one of your Pokemon during their last turn. Obviously, Nicholas took down that Suicune V, so Raihan is live, able to be played, and will get that energy acceleration, only needing 1 more energy to pull off the Aqua Bullet, and this is a just masterful play from Daniel, setting up the one prizer, knew that they were not going to be able to reach for the one-hit knockout on the last turn, but still hit hard enough to where you're in range of Aqua Bullet picking up this KO.
Time and time again, pivoting to the Shady Dealings Inteleon, and that Hydro Bullet has been phenomenal. You get that 20 extra damage that you can assign to a benched Pokemon and sort of tenderize your next target. We haven't even seen a big combo coming out yet from Daniel Lynch, and Nicholas, with 2 prizes left, does still have a little bit of time to maybe close this out before things go completely south.
Level Ball grabs a Shady Dealings. Drizzile can get another piece out of the deck. Daniel's got almost everything set up. A Quick Ball is a good grab to find a Suicune on the next turn. We know that, I believe this game, that Finn had a Suicune in the prizes, so only has 1 more Suicune V left in the deck, so Quick Ball going to be an important way to get that out.
There's a manual attached, so Hydro Bullet is online.
And there we go, takes the KO, and Zapdos with that air balloon is sent up. Yep, Suicune's still chilling up there in the prizes. Daniel finally takes the first KO of the match, and also puts 20 damage onto the Arceus on the bench.
That Arceus is then in turn going to evolve into Arceus V-Star, giving even more HP, but now Galarian Zapdos V is in the active. It does have an air balloon, so we'll see if this is going to be a pivot or if we're just going to take a big kick into this Inteleon's face.
Does need 1 more energy card because there are no Pokemon V in play, so the Fighting Instinct ability is not helping you out at all in this instance, and Clara can find that extra energy. Now with the Thunderous Kick, I don't think I've ever seen a Zapdos with 4 energies on it before, but when you start it, you gotta make use of the situation that you're given. Nicholas is setting up very nicely to close the game out. Thunderous Kick can take this KO, and then on the next turn with an energy on the Sobble, or the Drizzile on the bench, if that can become an Inteleon, you can go Boss's Orders and KO any of these low HP Pokemon on Daniel's side to close it out.
So the window of opportunity is closing on Daniel indeed here in Game 2. Top 4 of the Masters. The winner of this game is going to ascend to the Grand Finals. A lot on the line here. If Nicholas is able to take us to a Game 3, I would certainly love to see these 2 decks go back at it for another game.
Yes, no kidding. And we see Training Court grabbed, so 1 more energy can be pulled out of the discard pile potentially. I think just maybe putting, oh, it's going to hold off on putting it on play and just take the KO with the Thunderous Kick. 1 prize card remaining for Nicholas Moffit. Daniel has 4. Can Daniel find a way back into this game?
We can set up potentially a combo to finish off this Galarian Zapdos, but then you have so many targets on your bench.
Yes. That is what it's all about. It's just really going to come down to if Nicholas can find the Inteleon, find the energy, and find the Boss's Orders. Inteleon can get you all of those pieces with its Shady Dealings. So as long as they are in the deck, if Nicholas can find that Inteleon, can wrap this game up. And it's so awkward for Daniel to even think about trying to cross-switcher and target down this Drizzile. I mean, that does basically nothing because then you're leaving the Zapdos in play. So then Nicholas just needs a Boss's Orders. So you really just have to knock out the active and hope that Nicholas does not have access to Inteleon.
So we've got Quick Ball, finds a Suicune V, plays the Drizzile to get a Melanie, trying to set up now for the Suicune V to come into play and get a big knockout. We have the Lotad on the bench here that will, has that potential for the Enthusiastic Dance to come out at any time for that boosted extra 100 damage to get that big KO.
3 cards drawn from the Melanie. What kind of help does Daniel find? What combo pieces can be pulled off? Scoopo Net is in the hand. That's a huge piece because you'll be able to pick up this Drizzile, which is now an Inteleon, after you get to use the Shady Dealings.
Searching for 2 more trainer cards. I wonder if we're going to see, just attaching to this Inteleon once again to get that Hydro Bullet.
Cape of Toughness is a grab. I mean, I don't know that it's super relevant at this point, but you might as well give your guy as much HP as possible. I don't think Nicholas can pull anything out that would even reach for 210 at this point, since the Choice Belt's already gone. There's no energies on that Arceus. But if there's nothing else better to grab, it's a good card to thin out and just put it into play so it doesn't get Marnied back into the deck.
Nicholas needs to maintain composure here in game 2. You don't want to misplay. You don't want to let something slip through your fingers. Evaluating once again the opponent's discard pile, wants to have a full picture of the board state, of the game state, trying to drive this into a game 3 and hang in the tournament at Salt Lake City. A lot on the line here. It comes down to what Daniel's able to put together for this turn.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. Daniel can scoop up that and still get one more card drawn from the fleet-footed. Is the second energy already in hand, or does Daniel need to draw it here? He's going to use it.
Didn't look like an energy to me. Just saw a quick corner, a little quick peek at the card.
Does Daniel not have the energy?
Oh, looking at the body language.
Yeah, it doesn't have the energy.
And the scoop.
That is going to be it for game number 2. Nicholas Moffit wins the game, had the boss's orders in hand anyway. Not sure if that Intellion was there or not, but yeah, I think that it was unlikely Daniel was going to win that one. And in a surprising fashion, after how dominant Daniel was in game number 1, Nicholas finds a way to close out the second game, and we're going to game 3 here in top 4.
So many tight spots for this Suicune deck that have been fought out of constantly, over and over, finding these combos, finding these sequences to get your back off of the wall. But here, finally, in game 2, wasn't able to make it happen and taking this to a game 3 for the top 4. And still plenty of time left on the clock thanks to the extended round timers, and with, again, the warning that was issued before to kind of speed up the pace of play. The players are going to be going full throttle here in game 3.
Yeah, the clock certainly could become a factor. 19.5 minutes remaining, and these games can go quite a bit longer. We're not playing Mew VMAX and, you know, turboing through the deck. These are a little bit more meticulous. There's a lot more thinking that goes into every single action, especially when you're playing Intellion, and that's what both of these players are doing for this event.
As we head into game 3, we're shuffling these decks. You have to think again, you know, there is the chance that one of these sides might come up empty, give their opponent a mulligan, and as we saw, these games coming down to 1 or 2 draws.
Yeah, an extra card in the early game can be the difference between your opponent setting up and not setting up.
And so here it is, 7 cards being played out. We'll see if the actives are found. I see a Suicune, but can we get a Sobble to start off instead?
I think Daniel just had to start the Suicune there, and it does appear that Nicholas has a basic Pokemon, but just debating which one to start here potentially. Daniel will have the advantage of going first here in this next game, which is always solid.
Going first.
Or choosing to go first, I should say. I imagine Daniel will choose to go first, but you know, I guess you technically could choose to go second and just try to pull off a crazy play. Nothing too crazy in the prizes. A cross switcher for Finn is not the best, but there it is on the bottom. 2 research in the prizes could be really awkward for Nicholas, but as long as you know, you can draw through the deck kind of efficiently early on, and you know, you've got your shady dealings to get all of those Pokemon out of there.
So now we're off to the races. Masters Division top 4 at Salt Lake City Regional Championships. The winner of this game 3 will go to the grand finals. So everything is now on the line. 17 minutes on the clock. Daniel just going for the Capacious Bucket to get 2 water energy, but taking a deep look at the deck, evaluating what is prized.
Capacious Bucket grabs the 2 waters out of the deck. We saw this play in the second game where you just want to thin those energies out so you give yourself higher odds to draw a basic Pokemon or something that's not an energy, I guess, off of the fleet-footed.
The really slow start up from Daniel really came down to the lack of Sobbles, right? We just had like the 1 for a long time, and when you don't have that flexibility of constantly getting the rest of your evolution incenses, etc., it just puts you in this awkward spot. We know that the way you can search out those trainers and search out more trainers and get more evolutions, it just becomes a cascade of being able to thin your deck and reach that critical mass of all of my top decks are 90% what I need.
Quick Ball can get rid of a water energy. This does a few things. Of course, putting the water in the discard pile now makes it so Melanie can be played, getting an energy accelerated and drawing 3 cards. And it also gets a Sobble out of the deck, throws it onto the bench, and now it is set up to become a Drizzile on the next turn, potentially. I don't think Daniel has a very good hand, though.
Yeah, just a manual attach and a pass. So now Nicholas needs to get started here, has the Arceus V.
And just benches it and passes?
Benches and passes.
Has nothing else. Wait, but Daniel has like nothing else either.
This is going to be a pretty slow game, maybe, Chip.
Fleet-footed gets one more card.
No thinning before that draw either.
So
both players in top deck mode?
Has the Drizzile. Drizzile's Shady Dealings can get anything, and now Finn is off to the races. He's going to take out a Sobble this turn, so that cuts Nicholas off of even being able to use Drizzile potentially on the next turn.
Massive
if
advantage
all you had,
gained.
If all you had last turn was Arceus V, what could those other cards possibly be? There's no energy cards. There's no supporter card. So it's likely things like Drizzile, right? So if there's no Drizzile being able to be played next turn, you're really just hoping for a solid top deck. And it's going to be harder for Nicholas to top deck something because we saw 2 Professors research in the prize cards.
Melanie is now coming through, attaching to the active, drawing 3 cards.
Already enough benched Pokemon in play for Sobble to easily be KO'd. Poor Sobble with only 60 hit points.
And no energy on the Arceus V means that there's not going to be a strike back. No counterattack coming out of Nicholas.
Nicholas could make it happen with a Raihan play, but it is...
just a quick dispute, just explaining that that energy came from the Melanie.
And Daniel did attach the first turn.
Yes.
I think that was what Nicholas was trying to figure out. Like, oh, did you already attach this turn? But no, that your first turn was so short, Nicholas. yeah, it was just an attach. And now, looking for a top deck with 2 research prized, it's so much less likely that your top decks are live. An Arceus V-Star would be an option.
Okay,
and there it is.
Star Birth, make it happen. You're in a tight spot, but you can find 2 cards of your choosing from the deck and put them in the hand.
This actually could work out decently for Nicholas. What Nicholas can do is V-Star power, use that Starbirth to go grab a Quick Ball and a Raihan. And then Quick Ball away the fighting energy, Raihan the energy into play onto the Arceus, and then Raihan can grab the double turbo energy. Now, if Nicholas also had a Choice Belt to combo with it, Nicholas could go from absolutely nothing to absolutely everything needed in just one single turn.
Raihan's ability to be that comeback card, like you said, Chip, really showing its stuff here in Game 3 of the top 4. But look at this. I said I wanted these players to go full throttle. We knew the time was going to be going lower here for Game 3, but I didn't mean like this, where they just do one thing and pass. Now we want to see these combos starting to finally come online.
Nicholas can grab any 2 cards here. Marnie is the front card of the deck, so that could be an okay choice, but if the Raihan play is available, I really like that to get some Energy Excel. But I guess Nicholas is maybe thinking, I need more than just 1 card off of Raihan. I need to see a lot. I need to get more Sobble. I need to get more Sobble. Oh, the Raihan's in the prizes.
Oh, no.
That 1 Raihan in the prize cards. That was Nicholas's play to be able to pull off an attack this turn.
And that's why we're seeing such a deep search through the deck. Was already had the Raihan line ready to go, but now has to reevaluate that strategy on the fly. And again, under pressure from the judges if they think that you're taking too long and using up too much time here in Game 3.
You got to keep it in mind, Nicholas. So can grab 1 card. I mean, it's reasonable that, I mean, it's the first deck search, so there's always a little bit more leeway given to the time whenever it's your first deck search. You want to check the prizes, but, you know, time is definitely a factor. Just 12.5 minutes or so remaining in this top 4 match.
So it looks like the grab from Starbirth is going to be a Sobble and the double turbo energy. Oh, taking another deep look.
Yeah, and we'll commit to it with the shuffle here.
That is so unfortunate when you have such a strong line, like you said, Chip, the way it would just swing the tide of this game, but just being denied that. You have to get a couple KOs first before you're allowed to use Raihan. And because it's so situational of a card, of course, you're only going to have the 1 there.
Right. Had the escape rope in hand, so yeah, I mean, it's really tough to see what kind of plays could have been made this turn. If it's just an attach and a pass, that just feels so slow, but that might be all Nicholas can really do.
Yeah, not going for the attach of the double turbo. Just puts the fighting energy there. And it doesn't seem to be there's anything else really available this round.
And is just going to pass to Daniel, draws for turn, and now Daniel is at the advantage. I wonder if we'll see a cross-switcher target down that Sobble potentially. We know that Nicholas, couldn't do anything after not having access to a Sobble last turn. So, and yeah, looking at that hand, there is an Evolution Instance waiting there. So you could be aggressive after the Sobble, but also just hitting into this Arceus here does not feel too bad either.
This game 3 has just been the battle of incredibly awkward turns, but the more opportunities you give to a Suicune Ludicolo deck with so many different draw pieces and engines to get set up, there's a chance that the game is suddenly just going to completely get out of hand for Nicholas, and then Daniel's going to get a massive advantage here. Arceus V-Star sitting in the active with only 1 energy on it. Even if a big combo doesn't come out of Daniel and you just dump a little bit of damage on it with a Blizzard Rondo, just set it up for another KO on a future turn. That's really the scenario I think that Daniel wants to do this round.
Waiting on the shuffle. We'll probably be drawing with Fleet-Footed here pretty soon. Gets 1 additional card. And Daniel's definitely just at the advantage here. Even if you're not taking KO this turn on something like the Sobble, you're just at least hitting really hard, setting up for a 2-hit knockout that'll be pretty easy to manage on the next turn. And it is possible that Nicholas could get the KO on your Suicune, so maybe Daniel's looking for something like that Cape of Toughness to boost your hit points a little bit.
Cape of Toughness has been so important for Daniel to kind of stonewall the Arceus V-Star, not getting the key knockout on the Suicune V at the moment that you need it.
Yeah, taking it just out of range is definitely super solid.
It buys you on average like 2 extra turns, I think we've seen so far. And then because of your adaptability and the agility with this deck to just get the cards that you need to make the best of the current board state, as long as you have that attacker set up in the active, you are always going to be a threat against the opponent.
Shady Dealings, Inteleon hits the field. 2 trainer cards open up all sorts of possibilities this turn. And there's a Ludicolo waiting there, a Scoop of Net in hand. So we could, we could see the Cross Switcher. We could see, we could just see a Rare Candy just stocking that up for future turns. Quick Ball can go get another Lotad. I definitely like having the 2 Lotads in place, so that way your opponent can't make plays where they're targeting one of the 2. We saw that from Nicholas in one of these earlier games. And that is definitely a way that your opponent can try to get around the boosted damage of Enthusiastic Dance.
Being able to set up, so important here, and having that contingency plan as well. And you know that if you're Nicholas here in game 3 with everything on the line, seeing your opponent set up like this must feel so awful. You've got Arceus V-Star, but the key card you needed is in the prizes. You hate to see it.
That card that could have got you right back into this game, and you just don't have access to that. That is a big time feels bad.
But comparing that with Daniel here in game 3 after taking that pretty unfortunate loss right in game 2 where you needed that energy card, you needed those extra pieces, and there's the Choice Bell
and the Echoing Horn! And takes the KO on the active. That horn play was insane. Being able to put that extra basic Pokemon in play, 7 benched Pokemon, now dealing 160 base, plus 100 more from the Ludicolo, 260, and Choice Belt puts you just over at 290 damage total being dealt. Daniel Lynch finds a way to take the KO.
Beautiful sequence there. Nicholas being denied that key turn to get back into this game with the Starbirth ability. Now just having the final nail being put in the coffin, it seems like, with 2 Sobbles in play, looking very nervously at the hand, shaking their head.
Yeah, this is, I don't even know what Nicholas could do. I mean, one of the things about really fast starts like this, whenever you're playing this Inteleon Moltres deck, is that you can kind of combat that by getting your Moltres in play, but it's still not doing quite enough. It's a little too early. 2 prizes taken. That attack is only going to be dealing 120 damage, that Fiery Wrath. So that's not enough to knock out a Suicune.
But we got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You're in a bad spot, but you're trying to play it. You're out here in game 3. You can't just scoop. You've got to try every possibility to take this win. Evolution Incense finds the Drizzile.
Drizzile can Shady Dealings for any other trainer from the deck. Nicholas is going to try to find a way back into this one. One of the interesting things is that, Daniel, by using Echoing Horn, sure, it netted you the KO, but it puts that Sobble in play. So now that is a Pokemon that actually can now evolve, even though, Nicholas didn't put it in play last turn. It has been officially in play for a turn since it went into play on Daniel's turn.
Oh, very interesting. So a little bit of flexibility there being gifted in response to such a massive play. Nicholas has the extra opportunity to bounce back.
And just has to grab that research. Yeah, the one remaining research, since the other two are hiding up in the prize cards. Nicholas is like, I'm tired of looking at this hand. I've seen it for the last 3 turns. I just need to get rid of it and hope I can find something a little bit better.
Yep, Air Balloon, Training Court. Seeing if there's going to be an attach here. Nope, just gets rid of the rest.
Jeez, 2 Intellions, double Turbo Energy, and an Escape Rope. Not much happening. Looking for a bit more.
Better in the hand. Cape of Toughness, another Drizzile. Is Nicholas aware of that Echoing Horn?
Well, the Echoing
Horn
Horn
allowing the evolution.
Yes, yeah, should be definitely aware of that at this point, I would imagine. So, and if not, you can always ask the judges questions like that at the table. But yes, Drizzile, Shady Dealings can get out another trainer card. Is going to energy search for a Darkness Energy, and we're getting down to the wire here.
Yeah, Nicholas really
minutes.
sensing the time. These players have it dialed in. They can sense when a proper amount of time has passed here in Game 3. Another energy search to get another Darkness Energy.
And I actually think we could see the Moltres attack here, using that Malevolent Charge to get 2 energies onto it. Training Court can pop that Fighting Energy from the discard pile back, and Fiery Wrath can start to do some work on this Suicune. Not quite enough to take the KO, but a still solid hit for 120 damage.
And let's see if that combo does finally come together.
Yeah, has
Seems
it in
like
hand.
Everything is in the hand. Maybe 1 or 2 more plays besides before we're committing to this attack.
Yep, has Quick Ball, so that is an option. Training Court will grab the Fighting Energy from the discard pile.
And it looks like it is coming through. Malevolent Charge, attaching 2 Darkness Energies, and then the Fighting Energy for the attachment of this turn. Air Balloon on the Drizzile, allowing the retreat. And just one more look before committing to this line. When you're at 4 minutes left in this round, you've got to commit. You've got to start throttling here.
Oh, the Cape of Toughness is actually potentially huge on this Moltres. It gives it plus 50 HP. That
but no,
it,
gets it away, though.
Oh, that would have given the Moltres 170 HP, which would have meant that Daniel actually could not have possibly knocked it out this coming turn, because there is no more Echoing Horn to put another Pokemon down. And with 7 benched Pokemon, you're dealing 160 damage. But I think Nicholas here valuing the fact that I need to get Sobble down. I need to get a Drizzile for the next turn. Doesn't really matter if this Moltres sticks around. It gives up just 1 prize card. So let me just get a hit in and try to draw through the deck a little bit more next turn.
Yeah, once we're down to the wire, every single benched Pokemon changes your math ever so slightly around this Blizzard Rondo, and you can't take that sort of time any longer. You have to go based on almost pure instinct at this point. These are 2 players, 2 top-level players that certainly do have that dialed in. It's going to come down to keeping the play clean as we get closer and closer to that round time being called.
Fleet-footed gets 1 card off of the top. I wonder if we'll see Daniel try to conserve this damaged Suicune and either retreat it or play a cross switch or something like that, just so it is not an easy KO potentially for Nicholas at some point.
Yeah, Daniel, you can see just it's night and day, where Nicholas' play was very frenetic, a lot of cards being whipped back and forth, and Daniel being a lot slower, a lot more methodical,
calculated,
recognizing that they are in such a massive spot. And this is the play you mentioned earlier, Chip, being able to switch up to the next Suicune to get another fleet-footed draw.
Yeah, second draw. More cards is good in the Pokemon TCG. Daniel wants to see as many as possible. Drizzile's Shady Dealings can get another card from the deck, and would love to see Daniel try to reset that Ludicolo potentially. Melanie is something that needs to be played because you need to get another energy on the active still. Training Court also would work. I don't believe that Daniel has attached yet for turn, but might as well play Melanie when it can draw you some extra cards, right?
Yep, big hand gets even bigger. We very rarely get to see hands get up to this many cards.
Yeah, it makes me think back to some stall decks that have been good in the past. People playing that unknown hand way back when Lost Thunder came out. That deck was a nightmare to play against. Not quite getting to 35 cards in hand, but we're getting up there with how many things Daniel has access to.
So many resources. You love it. Hopefully, you know, Daniel maybe is thinking in the back of their mind, am I using up all my good luck here before I get to the grand finals? Will I still get there?
Not quite at the finals yet. You always got to keep your composure in these spots. Daniel's in an amazing position and is definitely in the driver's seat for this game. But as this game continues, Malevolent Charge and Fiery Wrath just get more and more powerful.
And with the right combination of tools, we can potentially move this strong attacker out of the way. Does indeed take that knockout.
And also puts an energy on Intellion, so leaving the option to go with that one prize attacker. Just 2 prize cards remaining now for Daniel. Nicholas is just has nothing. I mean, has the ability to Shady Dealings, but you can get 1 trainer card. Clara is probably going to be the only way you can potentially pull off an attack this turn.
Getting those extra Pokemon and extra energies added back into the hand. But we're about to go to time here, and a lot of work still needs to be done. Nicholas Moffit has yet to take any prizes.
Yes, 30-ish seconds left on the clock. We do play 75 minutes plus 3 turns. And when single elimination is in play, things definitely get a little bit more interesting as far as how the rules exactly work, which we'll break down once we get confirmation that time is called.
And still just thinking, yep, does commit to the choice belt as the pick from Drizzile.
Must have that Clara in hand already ready to go. There it is. Gets back 2 Pokemon and 2 energy cards. Can get extra damage in play with that quick shooting.
There it is, Galarian Zapdos with the Malevolent Charge. You can attach those 2 Darkness energies immediately. Where does the next energy come from?
Has the energy in hand from the training court.
Time has been called.
Or can get the energy from the training court. So time has officially been called. That makes Nicholas turn 0. So we play 75 minutes plus 3 turns. Nicholas will be turn 0, Daniel turn 1, Nicholas turn 2, and then Daniel turn 3. At the end of that 3rd turn from Daniel, if no one has satisfied a win condition of the Pokemon TCG, either benching your opponent out, taking all 6 prize cards, or decking your opponent out, you continue to play the game until someone satisfies a win condition, or in single elimination in this instance, you would play until someone is ahead on prizes. So since Daniel is so far ahead, if it gets to plus 3 turns, Daniel would just be given the victory.
And it looks like there's not going to be enough.
It's just spreading out with the quick shooting. Has the choice belt. Malevolent Charge has put those energies onto the Moltres. Fiery Wrath is hitting for a lot here. 220 plus the choice belt, 250 plus the ping from the Intellion means that 270 damage will be on this Suicune at the end of this turn. Nicholas is able to piece together a 2-prize KO.
So taking 2 prizes, getting a little bit of a look into those prize cards, finally drawing the Raihan. Will this be the miracle to somehow make this work? A card that was so important for the opening of this game 3 maybe comes through at the final hour?
Yeah, it's definitely something that is, you know, it's Nicholas's one hope at this point, potentially being able to use that Raihan. I love Daniel's decision last turn to put the energy on the Intellion. Now that is set up as an option to use Aqua Bullet. It deals 120 damage to the active, more than enough to pick up this KO. And, you know, plus 3 turns regardless, I think Daniel can win this game with just the 2 more turns that they have allotted to them.
And we saw the decision, right, between the Cape of Toughness and the Choice Belt, and having to put the extra attack power on the Galarian Moltres was the line in order to take out the Suicune.
Yeah, needed that extra damage from the Choice Belt. Kind of crazy to pull that out of nowhere. The Clara plus the quick shooting, very well navigated by Nicholas. Doing everything they can at this game 3 here in top 4. Wants to get to the finals as badly as I'm sure any player that participated in this event does, and these guys find themselves as close as you can possibly get with not quite being there just yet.
All of these matches have been so close and so exciting here at the Salt Lake City Regional Championships. What a way to bring us back, Chip. And Daniel still trying to ease their way through these final rounds.
Shady Dealings grabs any trainer from the deck. does grab the Raihan, can get an energy accelerated, likely to the benched Suicune. Could also, you know, put it onto a Drizzile to potentially go with the second Shady Dealings Inteleon. And also can get one card into hand to prep for the last turn.
And so the Raihan is indeed used. We've got the energy, and that is going to go on the Drizzile.
Makes sense. I like this. Have yourself the one prizer option. But I guess Nicholas could technically evolve both of the Drizziles, and you would then be out of range of being able to Aqua Bullet anything for a KO on this coming turn. So that could be a little awkward, but Daniel would always have the option to try to set up the Suicune if that was the case. And even still, you know, if the end of turn 3 happens, Daniel can just pass and the game is over, right, in single LM the way that the rules work.
Absolutely. And so once you're in a commanding position like this, if you're Daniel, you're just making sure that your play is staying clean. You aren't inviting any errors here. Shuffle comes through.
Yeah, and by taking this prize, Daniel will go to 1. Nicholas does not have a way to take a 3-prize knockout. You can't spread any damage to like a Sobble plus the Suicune with this deck. So there's not really a way that that can happen. And so when it becomes Daniel's turn, all Daniel's really going to have to do is just pass. And, you know, at the end of +3 turns, Daniel has less prize cards remaining. Daniel would be awarded the victory.
And that is indeed what is coming to pass here, Chip. Such a close game, right? The game 1 came down to the wire, came down to the lack of a specific combo piece to get that attack. And then game 2, Daniel just had to kind of scoop after running out of options. But we now see here in game 3.
A quick little check of the notes from Nicholas, wanting to make sure that they're totally aware of what prizes are or are not available. Has the Shady Dealings can get any 2 trainers from the deck. Eyes up the Marnie, eyes up the Scoop Up Net. Daniel has just a book of cards in the hand, so I'm sure Marnie is going to be one of these choices from Nicholas. But you have to draw into, like, I guess, Moltres and a bunch of energies to even pull off an attack this turn. Or I guess you could go for the Raihan, but if you go for Raihan, you're not going for Marnie. It's such a tough choice for Nicholas, and I think regardless, Daniel's probably got this one locked up.
Yeah, so very well played by both players. We talked so much about how this Arceus Inteleon deck wants to kind of counter the meta, and then once you are matched into this rogue deck, so to speak, something that hasn't seen a lot of play in the metagame for quite some time, it just really does not play into any of the angles at which you're trying to attack your opponent.
Nicholas can take 2 prizes here, actually. Can double ping the bench by Scoop Up Net picking up this Inteleon.
Okay.
And then that would be another 2 prizes, right? Because Suicune only has 20 HP remaining at this point after that first quick shooting. And then if Nicholas can find a way to take this 1 more prize card, then Nicholas now officially ties the game up, and Daniel has to find a way to take the last prize card. The problem with this play, though, is that Nicholas can't deal 160 damage reasonably. Would have to find the Moltres and a bunch of energies to make it happen. And, you know, you could go for the Raihan and power up the Aqua Bullet, but Aqua Bullet doesn't deal enough damage to knock out Inteleon.
So close, yet so far.
Well, Aqua Bullet can knock out the Inteleon, or the Suicune on the bench, I suppose, as well. So you could put the quick shooting damage elsewhere. But it still doesn't put the active in range of being KO'd.
So here comes the Marnie. Can we get something? We got to get something. We draw 5 cards off the Marnie after the hands are put down into the bottom of the deck.
And I don't know that Nicholas has a way to even attack this turn. You can take 2 prizes, like we mentioned, and drawing 2 Level Ball, a Sobble, a Darkness Energy, and an Arceus takes the 2 prizes. It's an Arceus V-Star and a double Turbo. You can go for Trinity Charge, but Daniel just has to pass, and the game is over.
Yeah, Daniel Lynch ahead on prizes here in the top 4. The round has gone to time, and this is going to be the final turn of this game.
Yeah, turn 2 here for Nicholas. So this is Nicholas's last opportunity, and I think Nicholas is potentially seeing the writing on the wall here, saying, I don't even know if I have a play that is available to me, is gonna scoop it up, and Daniel Lynch gets the win, moves on to the grand finals here in Salt Lake City.
Grand finals achieved. What a momentous occasion with such an interesting deck. A player known for their meta innovations and getting rewarded here, going up to the grand finals at Salt Lake City. What an excellent showcase here.
What great play from Daniel. Congratulations, of course, to Nicholas. Incredible run throughout the event. Making top 4 at a regional championships is an accomplishment to hold your head high over. Extremely well played, you know, played a great deck. And yeah, congratulations to Nicholas. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen here in these finals. We're going to have Daniel Lynch going up against Andrew Kennett with the Arceus Gengar VMAX deck.
Ooh, Arceus Gengar VMAX versus Suicune Ludicolo. 2 decks that are just